before Jon Jones became the youngest UFC champion in history at just 23 years old.
Jon Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history!
Before he earned a reputation as one of the most skilled and controversial fighters in MMA history.
Oh! That hurt him.
Before Johnny Bones faced challenges both in and out of the octagon, from victories to legal troubles. I'm Jessica Chinking, and this is Before They Were Famous. We're bringing the community back to this channel with giveaways and contests coming soon. For now, let us know in the comments who we should feature next, and if we pick your suggestion, we'll shout you out. Now let's get to the video. Jon Jones was born on July 19, 1987 in Rochester, New York. He was raised alongside his other athletic siblings, including former NFL player Arthur Jones and professional football player Chandler Jones. Growing up, Jon did so well in sports, including both wrestling and football.
Jones was 7-2 against Shogun, the ultimate fight.
His talent on the wrestling mat earned him recognition as a state champion at Union Endicott High School in Endicott. Along with this, Jon also won the National Judo Championship while attending college. Jon dropped out of college to start his MMA career, became a professional, and debuted in April of 2008. He beat Brad Bernard by TKO with a strong start. He then found himself disqualified on December 5th, 2009, because in a fight against Matt Hamill, he used illegal elbows that caused Hamill to be unable to continue.
And then vicious elbows, vicious ground and pound. And that one to the head.
But many people weren't happy about the ref's decision, including Dana White, president of the UFC, who insulted the ref. In February 2011, Jon submits unbeaten Ryan Bader at UFC 126.
Oh, look at this. Oh, he got it! Oh, Ryan Bader!
Which then brought him to an important fight in March. Jon defeated Ryan via TKO and at age 23 became the youngest champion in UFC history. Now at this point, Jon was in a good position, but with all the fame and money, problems came along the way. In November of that same year, Jon was taken into custody at the parking lot of a strip club in New Mexico. A traffic stop revealed he was driving on a suspended license, but his charges were later dropped. But wait, there's more. In May 2012, Jon wrapped his Bentley around a utility pole in New York and was later taken into custody after refusing a sobriety test. He later pleaded guilty to DUI and is given a $1,000 fine and had his license suspended for 6 months. Definitely a series of bad events here. When you think things would continue to go downhill, Nike thought otherwise. In August 2012, they signed him to a worldwide sponsorship deal, making him the first UFC fighter to do so. That same year, Jon Jones sparked a controversy when he declined a short notice fight with Chael Sonnen after his original opponent Dan Henderson withdrew due to injury. This decision led to cancellation of UFC 151, marking the first time the promotion ever called off an event. UFC president Dana White openly criticized Jon's coach Greg Jackson, labeling him an effing sports killer for advising against the fight. Just a month later, Jon returned to action at UFC 152, where he survived a dangerous armbar from Vitor Belfort before securing a 4th-round submission victory in the main event. In April 2013, Chael Sonnen finally faced Jon Jones at UFC 159. Despite Jon dominating the fight, a freak accident nearly cost him the championship when he dislocated his big toe. Jon managed to score a TKO victory with just 27 seconds left in the first round. Later that year in September, Jon was taken to the limit for 5 rugged rounds by Alexander Gustafsson, but escaped the fight of the year with a unanimous decision victory. The UFC 165 main event made it Jon's 6th title defense, setting a UFC record for light heavyweights. In 2014, after seeing all of the highs, Jon got into some controversy. He was accused of writing homophobic slurs to a Swedish fan via Instagram, but he claimed his phone was stolen and his account was hacked. After this time, it only got worse. In August of that same year, Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier were together at Las Vegas News Conference to promote their upcoming title fight. The tension escalated into an all-out fight at the hotel lobby floor, which quickly went viral. Later, during a split-screen interview on SportsCenter, Daniel said that he wished he could spit in Jon's face, to which Jon replied, "You know that I would absolutely unalive you if you did something like that, right?" A month later, Jon was fined $50,000 by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and ordered to complete 40 hours of community service for his role in the incident. In the end, on January 3rd, 2015, when they actually fought, Jon earned a unanimous decision win. More positives happened with Jon being featured on Forbes magazine's 30 Under 30 list of the brightest young stars in sports, but then his image took another hit. News came out about the Nevada State Athletic Commission disclosed that Jon tested positive for a cocaine metabolite a month before his fight with Daniel Cormier at UFC 182. Since cocaine wasn't banned from the competition, the fight was allowed to go on. Jon announced that he was entering rehab but checked out after just one night. Shortly after, the UFC fined him $25,000 for violating its athletic code of conduct policy. Addressing the situation, Jon told Fox Sports, "I'm not a cocaine addict by any means or even a frequent user. I just made a really dumb decision and got caught." In April that same year, Jon was involved in a hit and run and injured a pregnant woman driving another vehicle. Jon turned himself into the police hours later, originally fleeing the scene. At this point, Jon is stripped of his championship and suspended indefinitely by the UFC. He pleaded guilty to the charge of leaving the scene, and he was sentenced to 18 months of supervised probation. In October 2015, the UFC reinstated Jon Jones to his active roster, but trouble resurfaced in March 2016 when Jon was jailed in Albuquerque for violating probation. A week earlier, he had been caught for drag racing, with body cam footage captured him insulting the officer, calling him an effing liar and a pig. As a result, Jon was ordered to attend anger management and driver improvement classes. A month later, he returned to competition after a 15-month hiatus, defeating Ovince St. Preux via unanimous decision to claim the light heavyweight belt. Jon's comeback was short-lived. In July 2016, he was pulled from his highly anticipated UFC 200 rematch with Daniel Cormier after being flagged for a doping violation. At a press conference, Jon denied cheating while his team vowed to appeal the test results. 1 week after the hearing, Jon was issued a 1-year ban from USADA retroactive to the failed test. After a 15-month layoff, Jon returned to the octagon on July 29, 2017 for a highly anticipated rematch with Daniel Cormier at UFC 214. He went on to reclaim the light heavyweight championship. However, just weeks later, on August 22nd, Jon was notified of a potential doping violation. A USADA drug screening conducted the day before the fight revealed that the presence of anabolic steroids were in his system. The UFC stripped Jones of the light heavyweight title for a third time, reinstating Daniel Cormier as the division's champion. September 18, 2018, USADA revealed that Jon had been handed a 15-month suspension starting from July 28, 2017, which meant he could return to competition by October 28th. Just a couple of weeks later, the UFC set up Jon's comeback fight for December 29, 2018 at UFC 232, where he was booked to face Alexander Gustafsson in a rematch for the light heavyweight title. Ahead of the fight on November 2nd, the two fighters squared off at the press conference in Madison Square Garden, where Jon gave Gustafsson a push. Jones later explained to ESPN, "I was just like, we're in New York, let's give the fans some excitement." But things took a major turn on December 23, 2018, when a random drug test revealed that there was a trace amount of steroids, the same steroid that had gotten Jones banned previously. UFC 232 was moved from Las Vegas to Los Angeles as Jones couldn't be licensed in Nevada at the time of the event. Despite this, USADA cleared Jones of any wrongdoing. On December 28th, Jon was tested again, and once again, there was a trace amount found in his system. This was kept under wraps until January 23, 2019, when MMA Fighting reported that the California Commission had no grounds to charge Jon twice for the same violation. Despite the controversy, Jon dominated Gustafsson at the UFC 232, winning a third-round TKO to reclaim his light heavyweight title, and he passed multiple post-fight drug tests that night. Later that year, Jon faced more legal troubles. In April, he was accused of misconduct at a strip club, leading to a criminal summons. In July, he narrowly defeated Thiago Santos by split decision, but missed a court hearing for the strip club case, which led to a bench warrant. Jon later pleaded no contest to a reduced charge of disorderly conduct for his behavior at the strip club. Under the terms of the plea deal, if Jones was not arrested or found to have violated the law in the next 90 days, the court case would be dismissed. On February 8th that year, Jones retained his light heavyweight title against Reyes by unanimous decision, though many weren't happy with the decision. On March 26, 2020, Jones faced several issues again. He was arrested in New Mexico on charges of aggravated DWI and a use of a firearm. He pled guilty to the DWI, was fined, ordered to perform community service, and placed on probation with other charges dropped. On May 7th, he donated $25,000 to a local food bank during the COVID-19 pandemic. A week later, he voiced his frustration on Twitter, expressing a desire to fight. This escalated when he tweeted that the UFC was unwilling to pay more for a potential fight, suggesting he might walk away from the sport. Jones also clashed with Dana White, who claims Jones was asking for money. Jones fired back, suggesting the UFC release him from the contract. On August 17th, 2020, Jones officially left his title, thanking fans and competitors. Just hours later, he announced a positive conversation with the UFC, signaling that negotiations for his heavyweight debut were underway. Moving forward into May 2021, Jon Jones hired veteran boxer promoter Richard Schaefer, former CEO of Golden Bay Promotions, as his representative. This move was seen as an effort to resolve his ongoing contract disputes with the UFC. Later that year in September, Jones' 2013 title defense against Alexander Gustafsson was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. He described the fight as one of the best moments in his whole career. But literally the next day, he was arrested in Las Vegas on charges of misdemeanor battery, domestic violence, and felony injury or tampering with a vehicle. Dana White actually commented on this, saying this guy's got a lot of demons. He later addressed his issues with alcohol, posting on Instagram on September 28th, 2021, saying that he would leave alcohol behind for good. So fast forward to 2023, the UFC announced that Jon Jones would make his highly anticipated heavyweight debut against Cyril Kane on March 4th at UFC 285 in Las Vegas. The fight for the vacant heavyweight title, Jon wasted no time in his return, beating Kane in just 2 minutes and 4 seconds to claim the heavyweight championship. Finally, this year things continue to get crazy. On March 30th, a drug testing agent from Drug Free Sports International filed a police report accusing Jon Jones of assaulting and threatening to kill her during a visit to collect a urine sample for the UFC's anti-doping program. On April 7th, the Albuquerque Police Department issued a summons to Jones, citing alleged assault and interference with communications. He responded on X, saying that he was frustrated by the tester's unprofessionalism, but emphasized that he never threatened anyone or engaged in assault. He later pleaded not guilty to this. An Albuquerque judge ruled that he could remain free pending trial. However, on October 29, 2024, just as the trial was set to begin, Jones agreed to attend 4 hours of anger management classes. If he successfully completed the classes and refrains from any legal violations for the next 90 days, the charges will be dropped. Finally, on November 16, 2024, Jones faced Stipe Miocic at UFC 309 in a long-awaited matchup. The fight was one-sided, with Jon dominating Miocic, who was returning to the octagon after 3.5 years away. Jon won by third-round TKO, successfully defending his heavyweight title. From his debut in 2008 to today, Jon Jones' career was an absolute roller coaster. He had his highs and lows, but one thing you can't deny is his skills.